Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to you. Our apologies for a small technical glitch over here. A very warm welcome to you once again. And this is going to be a very, very interesting and exciting session today because we are going to talk about, something which we've been discussing for long. We've always aimed to achieve it, but somehow, we are not able to do so. This is something which we've been talking about for long, but how important this is what we realize in the current situation. So let me begin by, talking with starting this meeting with this beautiful quote, which talks about our health as an investment and not as an expense, and how true it is that this is the biggest investment one can make, which is in our health. Although it will become an expense if we don't invest in it. So it's very important to invest in our health. It's very important to invest in ourselves, because this is one return. This is something which will yield the maximum returns. Well, the topic about which we are going to talk today, as you all know, is about weight management. We've discussed about this, prior also, but today this is going to be really interesting. So when we talk of weight management, the first word that comes to our mind is obesity, right? And what is obesity? Obesity means, being overweight. It's an abnormal fat accumulation that presents a great risk to our health. But then the question comes that how do you measure obesity? How can you say that somebody is obese or somebody is overweight? Because obesity is above overweight. So basically, there is a crude population measure of obesity, and that crude population measure is known as the body mass index. A lot of us must have heard of the term BMI. We're going to talk about it, and we are also going to see that how can we actually calculate our BMI. How can we actually gauge whether we are obese, whether we are overweight, or we are average? So, it's normally said that a person with a BMI of 30 or more is generally considered obese, and an individual who has a BMI which is equal to or more than 25 is generally considered overweight. How are we going to calculate it? We'll just come to it. So as I said, that the biggest investment which we can make is in ourselves, in our health, because if we are healthy, we feel good, and we are able to avoid a lot of medical complications. Obesity, which leads to a lot of medical complications, is very, very important for us to understand that what can be the medical complications of obesity. Pulmonary disease is one such complication, and then there are cataracts, then there are strokes, coronary heart disease. We're going to talk about this as well. Then cancer is one big medical complication of obesity. Obesity can also lead to arthritis. It can lead to skin issues. It can also lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So these are some of the medical complications of obesity. So I'm sure now you can imagine, with the number of complications that come with obesity, how important it is to tackle this. And this is what we are going to talk about today. In today's session, which is a weight management one session, we are going to talk about the general concepts. We're going to talk of general concepts of weight management, because it's very important for us to understand. Weight management is not just about following a fad diet, losing weight, and once you are off it, you are again back to square one. It's about a lifestyle change. What goes into your body, what are you, how does whatever you eat impact your weight and your general health, is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about a lifestyle change, which we can make along with Forever, to tackle obesity, to maintain a healthy weight, and to feel fit forever, right? So coming back to obesity, is a global phenomena, and India is also battling a full-blown crisis of obesity. And it is anticipated that in the coming years this is going to worsen because of the kind of lifestyles that we lead, the fast life that we are leading. So if we look at the global figures, we see that more than 1.9 million adults are overweight and 650 million are obese globally. And this leads to a lot of medical complications, and medical complications leads to around 2.8 million deaths approximately. These are the reported deaths, which are the results of being overweight and obese. So these are the complications that we just discussed about. So you can imagine, the crisis and the kind of challenge one faces by being obese. If we come to India, these were the global numbers that we spoke about. If we come to India, we see that more than 135 million individuals were affected by obesity. And in India, the prevalence of obesity varies due to age, due to gender, geographical environment, socioeconomic status, and a lot of other factors, which we are going to talk about. If we talk of India in particular, we see that cardiovascular disease is one of the major risk factors which happens because of abdominal obesity. So, you tend to see a lot of abdominal obesity in India, which leads to CVDs, which is cardiovascular diseases. And various studies in India have shown that the prevalence of obesity amongst women is higher compared to the obesity in men. This crisis is going to definitely get worse. And what we see as of now is that not only men and women, this crisis is affecting a lot of young children also. And if we look at the figures from the World Obesity Federation, they show that there will be more than 150 million obese children around the world in 2020. And this is going to increase by 100 million over the next decade. So in India, more than 27 million children will be obese by that year, if you compare it with the 11 million obese children which are present right now. So, looking at these numbers, we can actually very well make out the challenge of obesity and the crisis of obesity which we are going through. And it's very important to address this issue, so that we lead a healthier and a happier lifestyle. So these are some of the numbers that I shared to you about obesity. We spoke about obesity in general, but it's very important for us to understand what are the reasons for obesity. Why are these numbers increasing? Why have they become so alarming? And how can we avoid a lot of medical complications that arise due to obesity? So let's go through the reasons for obesity. Number one, and a very important reason for obesity is genetics. So obesity, when we talk of obesity, we realize that obesity has a very strong genetic component. We see that children of obese parents, they are more likely to become obese compared to children of lean parents. It's normally seen that, if the parents are lean, the children are lean. If the parents are obese, the children are. So that's the genetic aspect of obesity. Then there are a lot of certain medications, there's a lot of medical reasons due to which there are medications, and a lot of these drugs cause weight gain. So these drugs can be steroids, they can be diabetic medicines, or they can be depressants. So what happens when we take these drugs? These drugs, they reduce our metabolic rate and they increase our appetite. So what they are doing is they are altering the functions of our body and brain. And as the metabolic rate goes down and the appetite increases, so does our body weight also. So we've spoken about genetics, we've spoken about certain medications. Then one very big reason of obesity is added sugar. When we consume sugar in excess, this is one big cause of obesity. What happens is our hormones and biochemistry of our body changes, which causes a lot of weight gain. And when we talk of sugar, it's not sugar as such. Sugar, we normally on a day-to-day basis consume sugar in various forms. For example, a Tetra Pak juice that you are having, is full of sugar. A tomato ketchup which you are eating is full of sugar, right? Any kind of carbonated beverage that you are having is full of sugar. So, sugar is, or any kind of, drink that you are having side, which is full of sugar, a milkshake or anything. So this what happens is, these factors, they add on to the sugar which our body requires and which leads to obesity. Then the kind of lives that we are leading, the kind of lifestyle that we have, and the fast-paced life at which everybody is running, we normally tend to go in for junk food. They are very high in fat, they are very high in salt and sugar, and this is one big reasons of people becoming obese. It can be a burger, it can be a pizza, it can be a donut, it can be, a lot of carbonated beverages that one has it. So these are another big factor which attributes to obesity. Then another big reason is stress. What happens is that, whenever we feel stressed, if you would have observed, if you feel stressed, you try and reach out for comfort food. When we eat this comfort food, it raises our body's serotonin level, and serotonin is a chemical that makes us feel good and better. So we are feeling stressed, and to relieve that stress, we kind of go in for some kind of a comfort food, which may be very high in carb, or it can be very high in sugar. Once we have that, the serotonin level of our body increases. And since the body's serotonin level increases, we feel good, we feel better. So that's why we feel that whenever we are stressed, let's go in for a comfort food. This causes obesity. Stress also causes our body to release excess cortisol. This is another hormone, which plays an important role in managing the fat storage and energy in human body. So when the cortisol level increases in our body, it increases our appetite. It increases the craving for fatty and sugary food. So now you can imagine that, uh, a lot of times you've heard people saying that stress is one big cause of a lot of health issues. Stress is one big cause of, a person gaining a lot of weight. It's because of, the hormonal changes that happens in our body because of stress, and how we reach out for comfort food to kind of calm ourselves, to de-stress ourselves, which leads to obesity. So then another big cause, which we are all aware of, is lack of physical activity. When we consume calories and we do nothing to burn it out, we are bound to gain weight. Especially in the current situation that we are in, we have to be very, very particular about, the kind of calories that we are consuming and the kind of food that we are having, because there's no physical activity. We are all indoors in our houses. So it's very important to kind of manage and take care of our diet so that we can avoid obesity. Poor quality of sleep is a very, very important factor of obesity. When we are sleep deprived, what happens is the stress level increases. And when the stress level increases in our body, it makes us, it increases our appetite and it makes us gain weight. And we just discussed about what happens when stress increases in our body. So it's important to have 7 to 8 hours of good sleep every day if you really want to stay healthy. Another cause of obesity is hormonal imbalance. The hormones like insulin, androgens, estrogens, leptin, and the growth hormones, they play a major role, impacting our appetite, impacting our metabolism and our body fat distribution. So hormonal imbalance can increase our appetite and decrease our metabolism, contributing to weight gain. So you've been constantly hearing of this word metabolism. So metabolism is a rate at which our body burns fat. So if the rate at which the body burns fat goes down, then the fat starts getting accumulated in the body, which leads to obesity, contributing to weight gain. Hormonal imbalance is also something which is a big cause of obesity. There are a lot of medical conditions like thyroid, PCOS, which can cause obesity. So that's something which you can't control of. You can take medicines, consult your doctor for that. But this also can be one of the reasons for obesity. But you can tackle obesity with mindful eating. So these were the factors, which we just discussed, which are the reasons for obesity. Let's see what the symptoms look like. how does a person who's obese look like? A person who's obese has basically a large body frame. One tends to feel very fatigued. There's breathlessness. There's breast region adiposity, excess fat accumulation. Uh, then one common thing which you see, visually, and that's how you say that the person is obese, is a big belly. Then the upper arms and thighs are very flabby, full of fat. Then the person who's obese also tends to have difficulty in doing a lot of physical activities. There's a lot of joint pain, because there's no physical activity and there's excess weight, there's trouble in sleeping. Then you also see a lot of skin problems which are caused by moisture that accumulates in the folds of the skin. There are issues like gallstone. You tend to see people who are obese having osteoarthritis in the weight bearing joints, especially in the knees. So these symptoms that I've mentioned above of obesity can also resemble other medical problems. So if you've noticed that recently you've gained a lot of weight without any obvious cause, then do consult a doctor. First, consult a doctor in case you have seen these changes in your body, and understand that are these the reasons, because of obesity, or is there any other medical condition due to which you are experiencing these symptoms. So you need to take a medical advice before you go in for anything for obesity. So these are some of the symptoms of obesity. Now, in the beginning, we spoke about the crude population measure of obesity being BMI, body mass index. And, I mentioned that anybody who has a BMI above 30 is obese, or somebody who has a BMI below 30 within 25 to 29.9 is overweight. So let's see what our BMI is. It's important for us to know how we calculate our BMI, for us to understand that where do we fall. As you can see it in the diagram, there are four, different options that are over here. One is normal, one is overweight, then is obese, and then morbidly obese, highly obese. So basically, BMI is diagnosed by calculating your height and weight, right? So BMI is equivalent to your body weight in kilograms divided by your height square, height into height, which is in meters. So you have to take your height in meters, your body weight in kg. For example, if you are 68 kg and your height is 5 feet 8 inches, which is around 1.73 meters. So how will you calculate your BMI? You will divide your weight, which is in kgs, which is 68 kgs, by your height in meters, 1.73 into 1.73. So it's body weight in kgs divided by height square. The result is 22.4. So now we look at this, measure BMI index. We see that 22.4, 18.5 to 24.9 is normal, which means that 22.74 is normal. So this individual is normal. Had this individual been 26, 27, 28, the person would have been overweight. And had this individual, have BMI would have been above 30, between 39.9, the person would have been obese. And if it would have been more than 40, then the person would have been morbidly obese, which is very, very critical. So this is how we diagnose obesity. We've spoken about obesity. Now we're going to talk about that how can we manage our weight. And this is something which millions of people are battling every day. Maintaining healthy weight is very, very important if you want to feel good and look good. And weight management is not just about, curtailing your calories. Weight management is about a lifestyle change. It's about leading a healthy lifestyle. So you can cut down on your calories and lose weight, by following a lot of fat diets in 3 months or 6 months. But, it's not a lifestyle change. You'll be depriving your body of a lot of other factors, which we are going to talk about, which can lead to a lot of medical complications also, and which is not sustainable. So we are going to talk about a lifestyle change. But before we talk about a lifestyle change, leading a healthy lifestyle, we're going to understand that when we talk of weight management, we have to deal with this topic holistically, and we have to cover various aspects, and we have to understand various aspects. We have to understand, how our system functions. We have to understand how and what do we need to feed into our bodies, into our system for us to maintain a healthy weight. So why is weight management important? Weight management is very important because being overweight, it increases of health conditions. We just discussed it in the beginning, right? What are the medical complications of obesity? So if we talk of three most important critical medical conditions that excess weight leads to, they are heart problems, which is cardiovascular disease, CVD. Then there is high blood pressure, which is one big medical risk, health risk that happens by being overweight, and type 2 diabetes, because there's excess of body fat, sugar in our body, which leads to diabetes. So that's why it's important, if you want to stay healthy, stay fit, to manage our weight. Weight management is also important because it can also lead to certain type of cancer. Us being overweight can lead to joint diseases like osteoarthritis, and can lead to respiratory or breathing problems. So what kind of weight management program should one follow? There are various options of weight management programs, there are various apps of weight management programs, but let's be sensible enough to understand that what's right for us. Let's understand our bodies, and let's understand that what kind of a weight management program is sustainable, which is long term, which talks about lifestyle change, leading a healthy lifestyle. So a good weight management program, it should taste good, it should be easy to follow, it should boost our energy levels, and it should keep our extra kilos off. So these are the four important things that we have to keep in mind while following a good weight management program, because that's what leads to a sustainable weight management program. So now we are going to talk of some fundamentals of weight management. How does the weight loss happens? How can we lead a healthy lifestyle? What affects our body? And what are the things which go into making a lifestyle modification? So when we talk of the fundamentals of weight management, first and the most important thing, we need to understand that every individual will respond differently to the same stimulus. So you cannot expect the same results to be uniform. A person X will respond differently to a certain weight management program than a person Y, because the body types and the constitution is very different. If you want to really experience long-term benefits of weight management, then you have to make lifestyle changes. Otherwise, will be experiencing the same results which you experience when you follow a lot of these diet programs, wherein you lose weight and then you tend to gain back the same weight, right? So the key to a successful weight management is to be consistent, to be realistic, to set long-term goals, and to stay focused. And if you really want to be consistent, realistic, set long-term goals, and stay focused, it's very important for you to understand the fundamentals of weight management. Because when you understand the basics of weight management, you know what affects your body, and that's when you can take right decisions and timely decisions and long-term decisions to make lifestyle changes, right? So let's talk of the basic premise of weight management. So what happens is, how does this whole thing function? Our body burns certain amount of energy every day, which is known as daily energy expenditure. This is a expense of energy that our body does in doing day-to-day activities, right? The amount of calories in your daily energy expenditure, it depends upon our individual genetics, it depends upon the muscle mass, and it depends on the physical activity. So how much amount of energy we consume every day, how much amount of energy we burn every day, it depends on our genetics. Genetically, if our metabolic rate is high, we will burn more energy. Men have a high metabolic rate than women. They would burn more energy. Then the amount of muscle mass that we have, this is also very crucial for us to understand. And the level of physical activity that we are doing. If we are very active, we follow some kind of an exercise routine. We are very mindful about our eating. We ensure that the food that we eat leads to a high muscle mass. Then we'll burn more energy, and a daily energy expenditure will be very high, right? For example, those with relatively high amount of muscle mass and high level of physical activity will burn more energy in a day, and those with relatively low amount of muscle mass and low amount levels of physical activity will burn less energy. So you need to keep these three things in your mind: genetics, amount of muscle mass, and the level of physical activity. Because what you eat, what you intake should have an impact on these things. And we'll talk about how Forever helps you with that in our weight management 2 sessions. But before that, we need to understand that what are the basic premises. Then you can increase your daily energy expenditure by increasing your level of muscle mass. So if we really want to burn more energy, then we need to ensure that we are increasing the level of muscle mass in our body. This you can do by doing strength training or appropriate nutrition that we are taking, or we can increase the level of physical activity by moving more, by exercising more. Genetics, of course, you cannot alter. Whatever genetically you have inherited cannot be altered, right? In order to meet your daily energy requirement, which means that you have you have spent a lot of energy, but then you need to gain that energy back also for you to be active and for you to be energetic. So in order to meet your daily energy requirement, it's important that you must consume calories by eating food. So you are burning your calories, you are expending energy by increasing the level of muscle mass and physical activity, but then you need to gain that energy back by consuming more calories, right? So now we are going to talk of, we have spoken about the terms calories and metabolism. We are going to talk of basic weight management terminology, which is very important for us to understand. So when we talk of weight management terminologies, we'll talk of what calories are, what is metabolism, what are macro and micronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, right? So let's come to calories. That's the first thing that we are going to talk about. So what's the concept of calories? We just basically spoke about the energy expenditure and the energies that we are consuming. So if we consume the exact amount of calories that you burn daily, your body weight will not change. In my Hindi session of weight management, I gave an example of a bank account. And I said that, if you deposit some money in your account, if you deposit X amount of money in your account, if you spend X amount of money also, then your bank balance is not going to change. It's going to remain the same. Whereas if you consume more calories than you burn daily, your weight will increase. So if you deposit less money and if you spend more money, your bank balance is definitely going to go down. It's not going to, which means that the weight is going to increase, right? Your expenditures are going to increase. Your savings will decrease. In the same way, if you consume fewer calories than you burn daily, your body weight will increase. If you are spending less and saving more, then your bank balance will increase, and your expenditures will decrease. So in the same way, if you are eating less calories than you burn daily, your body weight will decrease. So weight loss occurs actually when we consume fewer calories than what we burn in a day. And this happens because the body needs energy, and the body gets this energy by burning the fat tissue of our body. So fat daily energy requirement. So let's see the example of how what is the calorie concept. So Hari burns 2500 of calories of energy every day, right? Hari will lose weight if he eats 2500 calories per day, and if Hari eats 2250 calories in the day, there'll be a deficit of 250 calories in relation to the amount of energy that Hari burns in a day, which is 2500 calories. So what is going to happen, right? So now what happens? He's eating less calories than what he's consuming in a day. So where does this 250 calories come from? There's a deficit. He's burning 2500, he's eating 2250. So there's a deficit of 250 calories. So what happens is the body needs energy. So what the body does is, since the body is not getting food from the external environment, it starts eating from an internal environment. And how does it eat? It eats by burning the fat tissue, right? The breaking down of fat tissue releases the energy that body needs in order to meet its daily requirement. So as the fat tissue is breaking down, the weight loss starts happening, the weight management process begins. So that was a calorie concept example. So that's how, we have to take care of the intake and the expenditure of calories that we are doing every day. So we have to be very mindful. This teaches us that we have to be very mindful in terms of what we are eating. So if we are eating more than what we are, what we are spending more in terms of physical activity, then obviously we are going to gain weight. So let's come to the second terminology, which is metabolism. What is metabolism? It's the rate at which our body burns calories. And why is it important? Because if calories are not burned, the body cannot use them for energy and to repair tissues. They end up being stored in our body as fat. So it's very important that our body burns calories. It's very important to increase our metabolic rate, because only when we increase our metabolism, the body will start converting, the fat. It'll start burning the fat very fast. And when the body starts burning the fat very fast, we will, be able to manage our weight. When we talk of metabolic rate, basically there are two things when we talk of metabolic rate. One is the basal metabolic rate, and one is the active metabolic rate. These are the measures. So for our bodies to function correctly on a daily basis, even while we are sleeping, we need to fuel it, and we do this by consuming calories. So it's very important to work out how many calories we require, and we can do this by working out our BMR and AMR, which is our basal metabolic rate and actual active metabolic rate. So we need to figure out that, what's the kind of lifestyle that we are leading, and what are the calories that we are consuming. And depending on our metabolic rate, we need to find out what our metabolic rate is, because it's a metabolic rate which will decide that whether, our body is burning fat good enough for us to maintain a healthy weight or not. So that's the basic of metabolism. So we need to understand that the rate at which the body burns fat is a metabolic rate. Then we move on to another important thing. We are talking of weight management program, which is healthy, long-term, sustainable, a lifestyle change. And it's very important when we are talking of these aspects. It's very important for us to understand macronutrients versus micronutrients. We're not talking of a weight management program where your body is deprived of the essential vitamin, minerals, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. We're talking of following a weight management program where your body is full of energy, where the body has good nutrients, and which leads to a healthy lifestyle. So when we talk of macronutrients versus micronutrients, we first talk of macronutrients. So basically, nutrients can be divided into two categories: macro and micronutrients. Macronutrients are those nutrients which our body needs in large amounts, because they provide energy and calories to our body. And what are these macros? Protein, fat, fiber, water, carbohydrates, they are example of macronutrients. Cereals, legumes, meat, fish, potatoes, nuts, oil seeds, they are all rich in macronutrients, and they contribute to the bulk energy that is needed for our metabolic system. So they're very important. So if you are wondering that, weight management by eating fat and by carbohydrates, then you are hearing it right. We are talking of healthy carbs and healthy fat, which we'll be talking about, because they are very, very important, for the bulk energy which is needed for our metabolic system. So now we'll talk more of macros going forward. Let's understand what are micronutrients. Micronutrients are nutrients which are required in small amounts. Micronutrients, they help various functions of body growth and disease prevention. So they are very integral. They help in disease prevention. They help in body growth, but they are required in small amounts. So phytochemicals and antioxidants, vitamins and certain minerals, vegetables, fruits, eggs, green leafy vegetables, fermented food. They are all rich in micronutrients. So let's understand these in details. So let's first talk of carbohydrates, which is a macronutrients. So a lot of people feel, and I'm sure you must have heard of people saying low carb diet. If you want to lose weight, stop having carb, don't have carb after this time. So, let's first understand what are carbs and why are they important. So we need to have carbs. It's very important for us to have carbs. But what kind of carbs we are going to talk about? Carbohydrates are the main type of nutrients. They're the most important source of energy for our body. And what happens is our body changes the carbohydrates into glucose, which is blood sugar. And the body uses this energy, which is generated by sugar, which comes from the carbohydrates for our cells, tissues, and organs. So it's very important. It stores the extra sugar in our liver and muscles for when it is needed. So it's simple to understand that our digestive system changes the carbohydrates into glucose, which is blood sugar, and the body uses this blood sugar for energy of our cells, tissues, and organs. So that's why carbohydrates play a very integral role. But it's very important to understand what kind of carbs. So carbohydrates can be divided into two categories: good carbohydrates and bad carbohydrates. What are the good carbohydrates? Let's first talk of the good carbs. Good carbs are complex carbs which are healthy. They are fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, legumes, beans, peas, lentils, whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, pure oats, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and sweet potatoes. Why are they good? They are good because they are providing us energy. They are very high in fiber. They have natural sugars. They are low on glycemic. They have low insulin levels. They are digested very slowly, due to which, they give us prolonged energy. Since they are full of fibers and natural sugars, we stay full for a longer period of time. And due to all these above factors, they help us lose weight. So now we can understand that these are the carbs. This is the list of carbs which comes into good carbs. They are complex carbs and they are very healthy. Then we talk of the bad carbs. These are the carbs which we generally like. This is generally that we eat, because of the lifestyle that we are leading. They're not very healthy for us. So what are the examples of bad carbs? So they are fruit juices, soda, cookies, pastries, cakes, white breads, white crackers, regular pasta, candy, then ice cream, frozen yogurt, potato chips, and French fries. They are all bad carbs, which we love, which we consider good because they give us instant energy. They are low in fiber. They are loaded with processed sugars. They are very high in glycemic. They are very high insulin levels. They are digested fast, due to which we start feeling hungry again. The energy, they give us very low energy. Since they are digested very fast, we get hunger pangs. We feel hungry, and then it's a very vicious cycle. They are very, very addictive in nature, and then we tend to eat more, and then we start gaining weight. So these are bad carbs. So if you really want to consume carbs, which you should, and which is very integral to give energy, then we should go in for good carbs. This is the list of good carbs. Try and incorporate these in our daily diet rather than these. Then we talk of proteins, which are very important. A protein is a macronutrient and it's very important for building muscle mass. So if you remember, we spoke of three things, uh, you know, uh, uh, and these were the three things on which our body's energy expenditure depended, right? One was genetics, the second was muscle mass, the amount of muscle mass in the body, and the third was the level of physical activity. So protein, if you really want to increase your muscle mass, and increasing your muscle mass would mean, your body will be consuming more calories, would be spending more calories, which would lead in a weight loss. So proteins help in building the muscle mass. They are large molecules that our cells need to function properly. They consist of amino acids, and the structure and function of our body depends on protein. It's very important. From the regulation of body cells and tissues and organs, protein plays a very, very important part. This regulation of body cells and tissues and organs cannot happen without them. Protein consists of amino acids, and amino acids are the building block of protein. Protein can be animal or plant based. So a lot of people who are vegetarian or vegan say that, I cannot get enough intake of protein because I am not, a meat eater. So it's not like that. Protein can be both animal or plant based. In fact, plant based protein is also equally rich in the protein content as animal based protein. So that's about the protein. Now we understand that why it's important. So if you really want to increase your muscle mass, then you can go in for protein, whether a plant based protein or an animal based protein. Then we come to the third macronutrient, which is very, very important for us when we talk of weight management, and that's fat. Fat is one of the three essential macronutrients that our body needs, along with carbohydrates and proteins. So a balanced diet should include healthy, healthful, monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So like carbohydrates, which are good or bad, fat also, has various uh, varieties. You have monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, trans fats, which we are going to talk about. So if you fat is something which our body needs a lot, and to have a balanced and a healthy diet, we need to consume monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat. So some of the best sources of these fatty acids include avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish. But we need to ensure that we need to limit the amount of saturated fat in our body. We need to avoid it and completely avoid the intake of trans fats. That's why you would have heard a lot of people saying that you should understand before you're buying anything. You should know how to read labels. A lot of food would say fat content. Uh, of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat is very less and trans fats very high. You should avoid food which is very high in trans fat. So if you want to lose weight, you have to eat less calories. Then the body requires an exercise more to burn the stored fat. The first fuel is that our body needs is carbohydrates. Let's go in for good carbs. Second fuel is fat. Let's go in for monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat. And the third fuel is protein, which will help us build our muscle mass, can help us consume, expend more calories. Then we talk of vitamins, which are very, very important. So let's understand vitamins. Vitamins are naturally occurring chemicals that are essential for everyone's good health. They sustain normal growth and development. So what happens is they occur naturally in the food, in most food, and are available in the quantities that we require. So you find vitamins. That's why you would have heard people saying that eat a lot of natural fruits and vegetables. They are rich in vitamins. So they occur naturally. Many chemical reactions, they are important because a lot of chemical reactions that take place in our body actually requires vitamin to function correctly, right? So the malfunctioning of these chemical reactions happens because of lack of vitamins in our body. They do not provide us calories, but they are like regulators in the system that release energy. So, organs or parts of our body that release energy, vitamins play an important part in regulating. They are involved in building, repairing, and maintaining healthy cells and tissues. Antioxidant vitamins, protect our body from the damages which are caused due to environmental factors, and they prevent us from damages and diseases. So that was about vitamins. Very important that we have vitamins if we want to maintain healthy cells and tissues, and they are essential regulators and essential links in the system for and that in the systems that do release energy. Then we come to minerals. Now, what are minerals? Minerals are needed for normal enzyme and cellular activity and for the function and composition of body tissue, fluids, bone, blood, and skin. Minerals can be macro minerals, which one needs approximately 100 milligrams per day, or it can be micro minerals, which we need less than 100 milligrams per day. So minerals are also equally important, right? Then we talk of antioxidant. Antioxidants, are substances that can prevent slow damage to cells caused by free radicals. So free radicals are environmental factors which cause damage to our cells. And antioxidants, they act like a shield. They prevent us from these free radicals. So as I just mentioned, free radicals are waste substances produced by cells' trusted source as the body processes food and reacts to the environment. And antioxidants, they neutralize free radicals in our body and they help in boosting our overall health. Free radicals can lead to tissue damage, but antioxidants, like a shield, help block the process by providing vitamin C, A, and E, minerals like selenium, zinc, manganese, and copper. And as I just mentioned, they neutralize the effect of free radicals and they give an overall boost to our health. That's why antioxidants are very important. And we say that, we should eat rainbow colored foods. They are rich in antioxidants. Our plate of food should be very, very colorful. And these are some of the antioxidant foods that you can see over here on the screen, right? So these were some of the basic concepts of weight management. So the key is a healthy and well balanced diet and a regular exercise. So a combination of both these things leads us to a healthy weight and a healthy lifestyle. And we should not forget, about the daily energy expenditure. And this happens when we do regular exercise, a lot of physical activity. Regular exercise is the best thing that we can do for our health, and it can be any form of exercise, from a walk to a jog to a gym to aerobics, to Zumba, any form of an exercise. What does it do? It reduces body fat, it increases our lifespan, it improves the oxygenation in our body, it helps in strengthening our muscles. Regular exercise also helps us manage chronic pain. It wards off viruses, by building immunity. It reduces diabetes risk. Then it strengthens our heart and it maintains mobility. And the list is endless. There are innumerable benefits of regular exercise. So if you really want to manage your weight and going for a healthy weight management, then you need to have a very good combination of a healthy diet along with a regular exercise. And in Forever, we give you an opportunity to look better and to feel better. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to enjoy the benefits of advanced nutrition, or are looking for a new favorite exercise routine, Forever Fit has everything what you are looking for. And that's why we say that Forever Fit is the start of a great management journey. So these are the basic concepts today that we have covered in weight management part 1. It's very important for us to understand, we could have easily spoken about the products of Forever and how Forever can help you manage healthy weight. But, we are talking of a lifestyle change. We are talking of a healthy, long-term, sustainable weight management program. And that's why it's very important for us to understand why and how does it happen. So today we spoke about why, the house, what are the concepts that go into a weight management program. But in tomorrow's session, which is a weight management 2, we will take you on a journey of weight loss with Forever. We're going to talk of what are the various products that will help you, kind of understand and help you lose weight by increasing your metabolic rate or by increasing your muscle mass and a lot of other factors. We're also going to talk about a formula, a 5-point formula for weight loss, and how Forever has products to help you lose weight. So it's your time to shine. Every day is another chance to get stronger, to eat better, to live healthier, and to be the best version of you. So try to be the best version of you. Be stronger, be better, be healthier. And we will see you tomorrow again. I'll be there tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. For the weight management 2, part 2. And we are going to talk of our journey of weight loss with Forever Living products. Thank you all for your participation, and our apologies for a little delay due to a technical glitch. Thank you so much for your patience, and we will see you all tomorrow, and we will see how we can lead a healthy lifestyle with Forever and attain weight loss. Thank you, and good luck to all of you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.